Hey everybody, welcome back to Regina's World. Okay, so I just have some time to do a couple of videos. I'm gonna do a little talking today. I guess you can say that kind of story times, but whatever. Well, I guess yeah. Well, this was not really a story time. This is just talking about. I wanted to talk about relationships this time around. So this one, I wanted to talk about one of the best relationships I ever had, and I reference him a lot in a lot of my videos. Well, several of my videos, I have referenced him a lot, but I have never really delved into my relationship with him and what it was like being with him. And so this video, I am. So if you're interested in knowing this part of my life, this relationship that I was in, first give it a like, give this video a like, and a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel. As we're at 771, we're on the way to 800 subscribers, and eventually we'll make it to 1,000. But we're like the little engine that could. We're gonna keep chugging along until we make it to the promised land, which is 1,000. Okay. So here we go right into the video. Okay, so this video is all dedicated to my ex-boyfriend Andre Jessie. I met Andre in 2012, I believe it was 2012. I had just moved from California because went through some stuff with my ex-husband, and I left California. And at the time, I wasn't leaving California to leave him or the kids or anything. It was just California just wasn't working out for us as a place for us to live. Even though that's where he's from, it just wasn't working out for us as a place to live. So I told him at the time that I was coming back to Vegas to find a place for us to live, and blah, blah, blah. He took that as a whole nother thing that I was trying to leave him, and he did some stupid shit, which ended our relationship at the time. So I really wasn't really interested in dating at the time. I just was, when I got back here, I was really focused on a lot of things, which was getting an apartment, getting a car. I didn't have my other baby with me, only had Keyshawn with me. So I was able to move around a lot freely than what I was before with two kids. And I only had to focus on one. Even though the situation was really messed up, I cried a lot. Eventually, I kind of got over the pain. And then it just kind of worked out that he had a child and I had a child. And it was easy for me to do things because I only had one child to deal with at the time. And so when I was ready to date, it was like maybe 6-7 months later. That's when I actually started paying attention to men again. And I specifically said to God, I said, Lord, whoever I date next have to be completely opposite from my husband. Or baby daddy at the time. But he had to be completely opposite from what I was dealing with and have been dealing with for the past several years. And so I had met two people at the time, which was one of the persons who was the star of my threesome video. I met him, and I met my Andre Jessie at the same time. So I was dating the guy that I had a threesome with first, and it really didn't never turn into anything really serious, even though I tried to make it something serious. But he was a bad guy, and I wasn't, even though I had Andre over here who was chasing me, the good guy, I was interested in the bad guy and trying to make the bad guy into me like I was into him, and it just wasn't happening. So this particular day, I lost my job. I was working. Where was I working? I think I was working at the nursing home. I forget which nursing home I was working at, but I was working at a nursing home. I called both men at the same time and said, well, not the same time. I just called both men and told them the same exact thing. I said, I just lost my job. I don't know what to do. The bad guy who I had a threesome with he said, oh man, what you gonna do? I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've never been without a job. They took my license. I can't work. I don't even know what to do other than be a CNA. I've been a CNA all my entire life. I don't know what to do. He said, oh, I hope you figure that out. I wish you luck. I called Andre, and Andre said to me, he said, well, don't worry about it. I said, how can I not worry about it? He said exactly what I said. Don't worry about it. You're my girl? I said, yeah, I'm your girl. Well, actually, at this time, didn't have any like titles or anything. When he said it, he said, are you my girl? I was like, I guess I'm your girl. He said, well, you're my girl, and I'm telling you, don't worry about it. I got you. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? I got a child to think about. He said, if you're my girl don't have to worry about stuff like that. I said, okay. Um, Eventually he ended up moving in with me anyway. I'll get to that in a moment. So I told the other guy what he said, and that guy said, you know what? He sounded like a really good guy. You need to date him. Like, he was like, I can't compete with that guy. That guy is a really good guy. He actually really, really is interested in you. And I think you should give him a chance. This is what the bad guy said, who I actually wanted to be with. But he was like, this guy seems like he's really interested in you and what he can do for you. I'm not really interested in doing all that. So maybe you should give him a chance. That's what he said. So I stopped dating the guy that I had the threesome. Well, stopped talking to the guy that I had the threesome with, and then started full on with Andre. Andre, me and him started immediately dating. Like, we really started dating. And it turns out it was probably the best decision I ever made, because we had a lot in common from right off the rip. We drove the same car. We both had Ford Focuses. Both had these cars. Right? We both had Ford Focuses, same year, same color, right off the bat. Then we had, he was living on the east side. He was living on Lake Mead. Well, not too far from where I live at. Lake Mead and Pecos. And I lived, where was I living? Oh, I lived on Lake Mead. No, where was I living? Cheyenne and Simmons, I think. Lake Mead and Simmons. I lived over there. So we wasn't too far away from each other, just on the opposite side of the town. And so he was downsizing from a house to an apartment because he was like, I don't need all this space. It's just me. I'm not married anymore and all this other stuff. He was once married, and he was looking for an apartment. So I had my own apartment. No, where was I living? I was living on Charleston. That's where I was living. I was living on Charleston and Rainbow, and he lived on Lake Mead in Nellis or Pecos over there. So we was totally on the opposite side of town. So he started coming over. My kids was gone. My kids was gone for one of the breaks. I don't know if it was Christmas break or whatever. And every time a break come along, if I'm dating somebody, I always let them stay with me. It just became like this habit, because I want to get to, especially if it's brand new and my kids are gone, I let them stay with me for a couple of weeks while they're gone on vacation, so I can get to know the person on a level, what you really can't get to know someone when you have kids around you. You're trying to keep them out of their eyesight of your children. If you don't know if it's not going to work and all that other stuff, you try to keep them out of their eyesight. So I did him the exact same way. And then he stayed and didn't want to go home. He never wanted to leave after that. He got comfortable at my house and he didn't want to leave. My mind, he said he was looking for an apartment. So every time I went to talk about it, he would get upset. We would literally go look at apartments, great apartments. He would literally get upset every time. So one time I pulled out the book and he got upset again. I said, am I missing something here? Didn't you say that wasn't this the part that you wanted to go find an apartment? He was like, it just pisses me off. I'm like, but why? You said you want to look for an apartment. He said, that's not what I want. I said, well, what do you want? He said, I want to live here. I said, what, you want to live with me? And it's with me and my children, with me and my Keisha. I think it was just me and Keisha. I said, with me and Keisha, you want to live with me and Keisha? He said, yes, I want to live with you and Keisha. I never lived with a man outside of my baby daddy. And I was like, okay. I was terrified because at this time I've only known Andre Jessie for maybe, a couple of months, maybe 2 months, maybe. I think I only knew him for 2 months. So I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what if all these thoughts went through my head? And I worked from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and he worked overnight, so he was with my son most of the day, and then he would pick him up from school, and he became an immediate help for me, though. And for sure, he became immediately helpful. He would pick my son up, make sure he's fed, make sure he's bathed before he went off to school, went off to work at night. By the time I get home, my son's asleep, and he would be going to work. He became an immediate help. And then we literally talked about bills. He was like, so if I want to live here, what are we going to do with the bills? I was like, well, we can split everything down the middle. But it turns out we didn't have to do that because he was pretty old school. He didn't want me to work anyway. Like, he didn't want me to do a damn thing. He was like, no. He actually agreed to it the first day, but it didn't end up like that at all. It ended up as he worked and I was at home with the children. And when we had that discussion, I was like, I've never not worked a day in my life. He said, well, welcome to your new life, because my girl will never work. He said, that's not what I want my girl to do. I don't want my girl to be working, and then she neglect me. I want her to be fully present with the children and fully here to take care of me. If my job is to just work, that's easy. I've been doing that my whole life. I can go to work. I need you, though, at home and taking care of the kids, making sure the house is straight, making sure I'm straight, and making sure the kids are straight. I was like, well, I got to do something. I can't be at home every day and not doing anything. He said, well, you can go to school. What do you want to do? I went to end up going to nursing school. He paid for all that. So he paid for all the bills, 2 cars. He paid for 2 cars, 2 insurance, my college. He paid for all of it. All of it. And he gave me a debit card to his bank account prior because it was just him. He didn't have any like real bills of his own. Well, he had bills of his own, but he didn't have a lot of bills that he had to spend a lot of money on. Me, I'm a shopaholic. I'm a shopaholic, okay? So if it's not clothes, it's furniture. Those are my 2 favorite things to spend money on. It's clothes or furniture. And I was just like, ring, debit, credit, debit. And he was really, he started noticing, he have a $300 rug coming in, a $300 photo coming in. He have a whole dining room set coming in. He like, wait a minute. Where are you getting this money from? I'm like, from you, duh. I'm like, you told me I can't work, so where am I supposed to get the money from? You, duh. So he tried to change his bank card several times. I'm like, that's not going to work because I'm always home. Remember, I'm going to get the bank card. All I'm going to do is snap a picture of it and start go back to shopping again. But but he was an amazing boyfriend. Like, he was a good boyfriend. Like, overall, like, he was a Cancer. His birthday was July 25th, I think it was. July 25th. June 25th, July 20th. It was one of them. June just was on the 25th. I know that. One of the damn months. And it probably was June. But he was very like, your issues is his issues. Whatever you got going on, it immediately turns into his issue, because he take on your problems, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. He take on your problems, but he takes care of you, like whoever you are, his girlfriend. You're not gonna want for anything, and that's the kind of man that I like personally. I like a man who can take care of me and my children. I don't have to worry about a damn thing. I know I am taken care of from the rooter to the tutor. And that's what he gave me. He gave me security. That is something I've never had with my husband, past tense or present tense. My husband never gave me security. Andre Jessie did 100%. All the way around, he gave me full-on security. I didn't even have to go to his phone not one time to feel that man was cheating on me. I was 100% sure that man was not a cheater. Like, I knew he was a cheater at the beginning. I used to sneak through his phone and be like, why is there never nothing in here? Because there was never nothing in there. There was never nothing in there to see. Because when he said, I am a one-woman's man, he really mean that. He focused on one woman at a time. He's not the one who's a philanderer. He sleep around with a lot of women. It is not that. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Do you know how many beautiful women is out here all the time? Especially at the pools. And that was one of my favorite places to go in the summertime, is in the pools. And I used to take him with me to the pools. And this is when I realized I really got a fucking faithful man. I am around a sea of beautiful women. A sea of beautiful women. And not one time this man gives a crap about what somebody looks like. If I step 2 inches too far away from him, guess what he doing? He's like, where are you going? He's tugging up my coattail. Like, where are you going? Where are you going? He ain't worried about nobody but me. And I loved every freaking second of it. Like, he took care of my boys. My boys loved him. My little one, he had a great relationship with each other. So where did it go wrong? I'm saying all this good stuff about him, and which he did. Like, he took care of me. He made sure everything we needed, everything. We went wherever we wanted to go. We traveled wherever we wanted to go. So what went wrong? This is what went wrong in this relationship. A lot of things. First, I blame myself, because coming from my husband to him was the wrong time in my life to have him, because I still carried how I acted with my husband with him. He had to break a lot of baggage. He had to break a lot of things off of me. Number one was my attitude, how I handled situations. So it was the first thing. I was used to screaming and fighting when I get angry, because that's all I did with my husband was physical, scream and fight, and be physical. He was like, I don't do that. You need to calm the fuck down. Like, he had to break bad habits. And even though he broke them, he eventually inherited those same habits that he had to break, because his patience was not patient anymore. After so many years, he wasn't patient anymore. He ended up being evil. He ended up having an attitude. And we had a big fight. We never fought a day in our life. But it's one day we actually had a fight. It was Super Bowl day, and he went to his friend's house. I don't even know why he didn't want me to go. He didn't want me to go with him or something. So he went and he came back drunk as a skunk. And he was in the bed. And I don't even remember exactly what happened or why we kept barking at each other. But we were barking at each other. This was getting closer to the end of the relationship anyway. And then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember him hopping up and jumping on me and choking me. He never put his hands on me a day in his life. And this day, he jumped on me and was choking me. And I was so stunned what was happening. But then I'm quick with my hands, and I'm quick with my thoughts. So my iPad was literally right next to me, because I think I was watching it. I'm sure I was watching it or doing something with it. And while he was choking me, I grabbed the iPad. He didn't even notice. And I said, smack across his face. And immediately he had a big ass gash cut across his forehead. He didn't realize it, because he was so mad at whatever it is he was mad at, until he started noticing blood is all over my face now. And then he's like, who the fuck is bleeding? And then he stopped and he did like this and realized, oh my God, I am fucking cut. Then he got up and called the cops on my ass. And I just knew I was going to jail tonight. I knew I was going to jail. Like the police got behind me and everything, but they didn't pull me over. I just knew that was finna pull me over though. They didn't pull me over at that very moment. I was able to get away and go to my brother's house. I said to my brother, I thought he was going to send the police over to my brother. I just knew I was going to jail. We went to the hospital, got them stitched up. We stayed together for a little bit after that, because I swear I didn't know what was wrong with him. His personality started changing. So when I realized that our relationship was going downhill, because he wasn't the loving, affectionate man that I used to know. He wasn't. Like, he was cold and distant now. He was talking to women now that because previously he would never do that. Now he's on the phone talking to women, and I'm like, who are you talking to? He's on the phone talking to women. Like he detached from me 100%. Like, he just didn't care anymore. He was just waiting for his time to get out of the relationship. So we got back together for a little bit after that. The kids ended up leaving for the summer. We separated for a minute, because he's trying to kick me out of the apartment. Like, he was trying to kick me out of the apartment. So we ended up sitting down at the table and had a grown-up discussion about everything. We're not working out anymore. We're not happy anymore. He wants to end the relationship, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and then he threw in the baby situation, because he wanted a baby. And I had my tubes tied, so I couldn't give him no baby. He was like, I want a woman who can bear my children. I want to have my own family. That was a deal breaker for him. He tried to stay in a relationship as long as he could. That didn't work. Then attitudes started clashing. We started fighting. He like, I never put my hand on a woman a day in my life, and I'm putting my hand on you. That's letting me, I can't be with you anymore because I'm turning physical. Something about you is bringing out something in negative in me, and I can't live like that anymore. I love you, but I can't live like that. When I got to put my hands on you, I don't need to be with you. And it just became really bad at the end. We was like it was in June because it was June 25th. That's his birthday. Because I was taking him, I booked him a trip to Big Bear. Me and he was supposed to go to Big Bear for his birthday. We broke up 2 weeks before his birthday. To Big Bear. So I said that's fine if you want to end the relationship, then we're just going to end it. But you're crazy if you think you're finna kick me out of this place. I said, I'm the one who got the children. You don't have anybody. I said, if you want to move on with your life, you can move on with your life. But this apartment, I'm staying in. And he said, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. You can stay here. You and the kids, you can stay here. Tomorrow, I'm moving out. And sure enough, I watched him the next day grab all of his stuff and pack it up and move it out. Never saw that. Well, I saw him a few times after that because that was his way of still grieving the relationship. He wasn't, even though we weren't together anymore, he still, had the thing of coming back, trying to figure out how to let me go because we was together for about 4 years. So even though he cut ties, his heart was still with me. So he was finding any reason to come over just to say hi to me or whatever. But he wouldn't go any further than that. He wouldn't let me hug him. He wouldn't let me kiss him. He wouldn't let me do anything like that. He didn't want to leave me on it any way to make me believe that we was going to get back together because we wasn't. And he made that very clear. It wasn't clear to me for a while because I'm like, I'm going to get back with this man. He mad right now. We going to work this shit out. We've been together for about 4 years. We finna work this shit out. No. I learned something about a Cancer. When they cut your ass off, they cut your ass off. No matter what you do. No matter how much they love you, they will cut your ass off. And they mean that. No, I don't want you anymore. We're not getting back together. There's some cold-hearted motherfuckers when they mad. I'm like, when they done with you, they some cold-hearted motherfuckers. And he was a cold-hearted little motherfucker. Okay, but overall, Mr. Jessie was a great boyfriend. He really, really was. I never felt so happy in my life until the end. That's when the relationship turned sour until the end. And my baby father during the relationship couldn't handle it. He cried through the whole relationship. So he was like, well, why can't I get the person that you are with him? You're so nice and you're so this. And I'm like, just the person who I am with him is the person I am with him. I'm like that with him because he makes me like that. He makes me happy. If I'm happy, he's going to see it. He's going to reap the benefits. I'm not happy with you. You always make me miserable. I'm fighting with you all the time. I don't have to fight with him. I didn't have to fight with him until the end when we broke up. And that one time. Prior to that, we had our little spat and arguments, but it was nothing like that. It was nothing like that. I was happy through my entire relationship. I never been so happy in my life. So I always give that man as much kudos to let people like myself to realize there are good men out there. They're hard to find, but there are good men out there. And he was a really, really good man. So whoever he is with, she is a lucky person because she got somebody who's a really, really good man. And, I taught him how to give oral sex. So you're welcome. Whoever's dating my ex, Andre Jessie, you're welcome because, I taught him how to do that shit. So you're welcome. And so that was my best relationship. So what was y'all best relationship and what it looked like? How long was y'all with the person? How did y'all meet? I want to know all that information down in the description box, down in the comment section. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Now I don't know what I'm finna talk about next, but I'm about to put up 2 videos coming for you in February. So I'll see you guys. What I'm not going to talk about next. I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.